What's good? It's your boy Phenom. Welcome back to the channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when we release these videos. Shout out to my man, the Cornerman Radio, who made me aware of this tweet that came out from Mike Coppinger. Mike Coppinger is an editor and writer for Ring Magazine. I actually like his writing a good amount. And he released this, it has to be considered a rumor, but it's one that makes a lot of sense. And if this is the case, could really create some excitement in boxing. And also, on the downside, could explain why one of the fights we really want to see, which is Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr., might not be in the running anytime soon. So as you see on the screen, it says source. Expectation is Manny Pacquiao versus either Floyd Mayweather or Errol Spence Jr. in fall of 2019 should Manny beat Broner. Of course, Spence would need to defeat Mikey Garcia. Big reason Manny signed with the PBC. He's getting a monster pay-per-view fight second half of the year. Now, the first part of this is obvious. It's the Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight. I've said for years that this fight is going to happen. The Floyd Mayweather Jr. Manny Pacquiao rematch for both fighters leaves way too much money on the table. It is just a no-brainer fight for both of them. And in my opinion, it's going to happen. Now, Manny Pacquiao coming back and fighting Adrian Broner. And of course, a lot of these things, you know, the fighters have to win these fights in order for this stuff to happen. But Manny Pacquiao versus Adrian Broner, it is hard for me to envision Adrian Broner beating Manny Pacquiao. It is just really, really hard for me to, unless Manny Pacquiao really does just jump up in there and get hit with a right hook. I just, or a real hard straight right hand, excuse me. It's just, I can't see it. I see Manny Pacquiao winning this fight from the beginning, from beginning to end. And, you know, that just being that. And then Manny going on to fight, having another fight. Now, again, the obvious one for me is Floyd Mayweather Jr. And the thing that made me think that that was going to happen during the press conference was that Mayweather Promotions is one of the promoters for Adrian Broner versus Manny Pacquiao. And also several months ago, Adrian Broner talked about the fact that he was going to be working with Mayweather Promotions, and Mayweather Promotions was going to be getting him a 8-figure payday. And that potentially is the case with Manny Pacquiao. Now, of course, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. were somewhere in Asia, and they met up and they talked about fighting. And after that, Manny Pacquiao signed with PBC. So all of that stuff makes sense to me. The Errol Spence Jr. deal, on the other hand, would be something that is way out of left field. And if it is the case, right, if this is the case, it really does say a lot about Manny Pacquiao's desire to fight any fighter, because Manny Pacquiao would be looking at an absolute brutal beatdown if he fought Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr., 28-year-old, well, at the time, I guess he might be 29 by that time. Very big, very strong, very skilled southpaw. Man, it would be really tough on him winning it. But on the other hand, if Errol Spence Jr. beats Mikey Garcia, then it creates a scenario on pay-per-view, by the way, in Dallas Stadium. And just to put it out there, I saw the commercial the commercial for the fight being played in the Cowboys game for the pay-per-view fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Mikey Garcia. So they're clearly pushing that fight heavy. And Fox is going to be pushing that fight heavy. You know, that makes Errol Spence Jr. somebody with an established pay-per-view record. If it does real well, a fight with Manny Pacquiao could be through the roof. And God, man, I think my first take on this is like, man, I don't believe it. And shout out to my man, the Cornerman Radio, who said the same thing in the tweet. Really appreciate it. And by the way, thank you to everybody that sends me tweets and sends me stuff, information that comes out. Because sometimes I miss stuff. So I appreciate when you do, when you communicate me on my email. Always feel free to, communicate with me on my email. I definitely do answer those. But this is a scenario where, if it's true, it really does hold up the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight from the PBC side. Right now, I have my own issues and doubts on the Top Rank side about Top Rank really wanting to make Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. And the reason why I would think that the Top Rank, and here I'm talking about the promotional company, I'm not talking about the fighter themselves, is the reason that I would think that they would be hesitant to do that is because Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. it's a fight that can go either way. It can go either way. But if Terrence Crawford has any problem dealing with that size and strength that Errol Spence has, then Terrence Crawford can really lose that fight. If Terrence Crawford loses that fight, that means there goes Top Rank's number one guy. Now, in the eyes of ESPN, when he was with HBO, when Top Rank was with HBO, there was a good chance that, it was not, Terrence Crawford was not the featured guy from Top Rank. But now that he is with ESPN, and if what they're saying about the perspective that ESPN has about Terrence Crawford vis-a-vis Lomachenko, that means, man, they can't really afford for Terrence Crawford to lose. So that's why I would believe that Top Rank would be hesitant to do it. On the PBC side, that is even more the case now, because now you're looking at a series of fights that are mega fights in the welterweight division, where you have one that's coming up, Errol Spence Jr. and Mikey Garcia. You have another one that will be coming up in I think that's in January, right? The following month. 2 months before that. Errol Spence Jr. versus Mikey Garcia is in March. But 2 months before that, you have Adrian Broner and Manny Pacquiao. So when the two of those guys fight, then you're going to have back-to-back pay-per-views, and it makes sense that the winner of those two pay-per-views could wind up fighting one another. And I think that's a lot of money for the PBC. That is generating a lot of interest for Showtime. That is something that they can build off of with fights that include Floyd Mayweather Jr. Because if it's Floyd Mayweather Jr. or Errol Spence Jr., Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, that opens up a whole big pay-per-view bucket for all the welterweights that they have at Showtime. So to put a fight, co-promotional deal with Top Rank in the mix to that seems unlikely to me. And that, again, is me not saying anything about what Errol Spence Jr. wants or what Terrence Crawford wants. It looks like a scenario where money is really going to stand in the way of the fight taking place. And I'm not happy about that at all. And I'm just saying, if there's any truth whatsoever to what they're saying right here, it looks really dim on the fight that we really want to see happening in 2019. So, but we'll see. As far as anybody who, as far as how this stuff plays out, what I really believe is going to happen is the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Manny Pacquiao fight. Floyd Mayweather, my understanding, whatever, I can't remember the guy's name out there in Japan, where he's supposed to have the 3-round exhibition kickboxing match. That probably should be just enough to keep Floyd Mayweather Jr. in training. If Manny Pacquiao looks good and Adrian Broner's pay-per-view and stuff do well, I could see Floyd Mayweather jumping in there with Manny Pacquiao. So, it is what it is. This is what the rumor is. I, of course, would much rather see, fights revolve around unification in the welterweight division. Though the four champions, Thurman, Spence, Crawford, and Porter, and I'm not necessarily as excited about secondary fighters being really, being at the forefront of the major fights happening in the welterweight division, that being Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and Adrian Broner. But hey, man, we just got to call it like it is, man, in boxing, man. This is something that more than likely is going to happen. And because, when it makes dollars, it makes sense. You know what I mean? Anyway, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.